His wife worried about this, but she could not go against his wishes. So he placed the sick boy on a bed in the veranda, keeping him away from the inside of the palace. But Lord Buddha, with his deep wisdom, saw something beyond the illness. Then he made a plan. The next day, he took the form of a young boy and went to the graveyard. Sitting where his father could see him, he began to cry loudly. Long, long ago, in the time of Lord Buddha, there lived a very wealthy nobleman named Adinapubaka. His palace was grand, his treasure was vast, but his heart was tightly closed. He was known everywhere as a miser, a man who would not spend even the smallest coin for others. Even his own family lived with very little. His wife worried about this, but she could not go against his wishes. Their only son grew up in this house of wealth without comfort. When the boy turned 16, it was customary for young men to wear earrings. But Adinapubaka refused to spend money on them. Instead, he took a tiny piece of gold, roughly shaped it with his own hands, and made a crude, unfinished pair of earrings. Because of this, the boy came to be known as Mattakundali, meaning the one with unfinished earrings. But unlike his father, Mattakundali had a kind and gentle heart. He was friendly, generous, and loved by everyone in the village. Sadly, the boy was weak and malnourished. One day, he fell ill. As the days passed, his sickness grew worse, yet his father would not spend money on proper treatment. Instead of calling a doctor, he only asked a few physicians what they might usually prescribe, and then tried to treat his son himself. Nothing worked. Soon, the villagers heard about Mattakundali's condition and wished to visit him. But Adinapubaka feared they would see his wealth and blame him for his son's suffering. So he placed the sick boy on a bed in the veranda, keeping him away from the inside of the palace. There, on that simple bed, Mattakundali lay, growing weaker each day. Around that time, Lord Buddha came to the village. Hearing about the boy, he went to see him. Mattakundali was barely conscious, unaware of what was happening around him. But Lord Buddha, with his deep wisdom, saw something beyond the illness. He knew the boy was virtuous, filled with goodness from many lives. He also understood that the boy could not be saved. Yet there was something more important, peace and faith, in his final moment. So Lord Buddha stood beside him, quietly. With great effort, Mattakundali opened his eyes just a little, and in that brief moment he saw the calm, radiant face of Lord Buddha. A deep peace filled his heart. And with that peaceful, faithful thought, Mattakundali passed away. In the very next moment he was reborn in heaven. Back in the world, Adinapubaka was overcome with grief. He wept endlessly. Though he had been greedy, he truly loved his son. Every day he went to the graveyard and cried for hours beside the burial place. In heaven, Mattakundali saw this. His heart filled with compassion. My father suffers, he thought. I must help him. So one day he came down to earth in an invisible form and watched his father weeping. Then he made a plan. The next day he took the form of a young boy and went to the graveyard. Sitting where his father could see him, he began to cry loudly. Adinapubaka noticed him. The sight of the crying boy reminded him painfully of his own son. He approached and gently asked, "Why are you crying, child?" The boy replied, "I have a cart, but it has no wheels." Adinapubaka said, "Is that all? Don't cry. I will buy you a pair of wheels." Mattakundali was amazed and happy. His miserly father, who was not willing to spend money on his own son's illness, was now ready to spend money on wheels for an unknown boy. The boy shook his head. "No, you cannot buy these wheels with money." Adina Pubaka replied confidently, "There's nothing in this land I cannot buy. Tell me, what kind of wheels do you need?" The boy looked at him and said, "I want the sun and the moon for my wheels." Adina Pubaka became angry. "Don't be foolish. No one can obtain the sun and the moon. Do not cry for things that are impossible." Then the boy stood up, looked straight at him, and said quietly, "I cry for something I can see, but you cry for something you cannot even see." Adina Pubaka froze. His tears stopped. Slowly he asked, "How do you know what I am grieving for?" At that moment the boy revealed his true form, radiant and divine. It was Mattakundali. The father was astonished and overjoyed. Mattakundali spoke gently, teaching him about generosity, about kindness, about letting go. He helped his father understand that clinging, whether to wealth or to sorrow, only brings suffering. At last, Adina Pubaka understood. His heart, once tight and closed, began to open. He returned home with a lighter mind and a peaceful heart. And Mattakundali returned to his heavenly world. The end.